Here's our last example of this lesson. It is widely accepted that approximately 11% of Americans are left-handed. What is the probability that in a sample of 150 Americans, you find that more than 14% are left-handed? Pause the video. See if you can identify some of the key players before we move on. See if you can identify what's a success, what's P, our population proportion, what is P hat, the sample proportion, what is N, the sample size of interest, and eventually, what's this probability? A success is considered being left-handed, since that seems to be the aim, and in the probability request it says, what is the probability that in a simple random sample that you will find more than 14% are left-handed? P, 0.11, is our population proportion. We're going to trust that the 11% we were told about Americans in general is true, and that is our population proportion. Well, Q is 0.89, the complement. Those are people that are not left-handed. N, 150 is our sample size. And again, it said what's the probability that more than 14% are left-handed. So 0.14 becomes our sample proportion. If we take the P and Q and N and put it into the standard deviation equation over here to the right and round to 3 decimal points, we find that approximately 0.026 is our standard deviation. And if you notice, we're going to center our model at P, the 11%, and each tick mark away is spaced out by exactly the standard deviation of 0.026. So the answer to our question is this red area to the right of 14%. How do we figure out what that is? Well, again, we use a z-score. Z is equal to 0.14, take away the mean, take away the center of this distribution, and divide by our standard deviation. It's 1.15 standard deviations to the right. That seems about right. Check it out. Here we are at the middle, 1 standard deviation and a little bit, specifically 1.15. From now, I think you realize that we'll go to the z-table, look it up, and the z-table at 1.15 gives us 0.8749. Now, that is not the area here. As you know, if you're experienced with the z-table, that's the white area to the left. Roughly 87.5% of the curve here is white. How do we find the area to the right? That's right, subtract from 1, and we determine that this area to the right, this red region, is 0.1251. In other words, there's a 12.51% chance that in a random sample of 150 Americans that more than 14% will be left-handed.